Yo, let's go. This is the second part of the podcast. All right. So, after you get your broker, right? Next thing, you got to know which kind of currencies you want to trade. All right. So, what I'm about to go through now, this is the application part. All right. This is how I want you to apply the information that you get. This is going to make you a better trader faster. All right. So, what I did when I first got into trading, I was so focused on learning everything, man. I didn't really get into my major. I didn't get discipline right away, okay? And that's the main thing. When it comes to trading, when it comes to investing, you have to develop in a certain amount of discipline. I've talked about it before, but you have to develop a certain amount of discipline for sure. And when I first got into trading, I was trying to trade every pair. One of my mentors, he told me, he's like, bro, focus on 3 pairs. That's it. Just focus on 3 pairs. So, let me explain some of the currencies that we trade on the market. So, the base currencies are the Australian dollar versus the U.S. dollar, the Great British pound versus the U.S. dollar, the euro versus the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is the main pair that the U.S. dollar is the main currency that a lot of pairs are against at the moment. And that's just because that's what we trade. It's the most commonly used form of currency is the U.S. dollar. So that's why it's always the base. It's always one of the base currencies. All right. And then you also have pairs like the AUD/JPY, which is the Australian dollar versus the Japanese yen. You get euro versus the New Zealand dollar. You know, you get a lot of different kind of pairs. And these are regular currency pairs. Then you have gold versus the U.S. dollar, silver versus the U.S. dollar. You have oil versus the U.S. dollar, or U.S. oil, the value of U.S. oil going up and down. Then you have cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Dogecoin, XRP. Then you also have shares. You can trade shares, like the value of different stocks. I know I trade Tesla, I trade JP Morgan Chase, I traded Apple on there. A lot of different stocks that they have on there too. And then I also traded, like I said before, there's the pesos on there, the Mexican peso versus the US dollar, the South African rand. There's a lot of foreign currencies on there on the foreign exchange market as well. Then you can also trade indexes. So indexes are basically, if you paid attention in the stock video, indexes are the US 30, right, the Dow Jones, or the Nasdaq 100, or the S&P 500. Those are indexes. So we can trade indices too. And like I was telling you before, when we're trading the value. So the value of the S&P 500, matter of fact, the value of the Nasdaq is at 14,000, right? The value of the Nasdaq today is at 14,689. That's what it is currently on October 13th. So the value of it is always going up and down, mainly because the value. So the Nasdaq 100, if you don't know what that is, it's the top 100 companies in the United States. The value of all of those companies put together, right? The Dow Jones is the top 30. The S&P 500 is the top 500, okay? And the value of them all put together trading on that day, right? That's really what that is. And so the majority of these companies are at the top of the economy, right? Johnson & Johnson, Nike, Adidas, Apple, those are the main companies that get traded daily, right? And we can trade those indexes as well that hold all of those companies, as well as we can trade the shares themselves. We can trade these currency pairs, right? And we can also trade cryptocurrencies. We can trade gold. We can trade oil. There's a lot of different things that you can trade, right? So in the beginning, you want to just focus on one thing. Right? In the beginning, it's about learning the market, right? Just learning how the market moves. Now, I've been trading for about 2-3 years now, right? About 2-3 years now. And honestly, like, 2 to 3 years now, 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 and honest I'm still adjusting my eyes. I'm still getting better at seeing everything. I'm still being able to understand what I see, because I can look at a chart and understand the market structure. That doesn't mean that I know exactly what that is on the market, right? There's so much research that you can do. There's so many different ideologies and methods that people have like studied over time that will give you entries. Will give you the exact point that you want to get into the market to find a great trade with no risk. Because at the end of the day, that's what you want. You don't want to risk any of your money. Nobody does. Nobody wants to lose anything on the market. That's why it's important for you to understand how the market moves, so that way you can actually, you don't beat the market, but you can actually capitalize on the movements of it, okay? Like I said, you can trade all of those different pairs. And what I would say is just focus on 1 to 2 pairs. Focus on 1 to 2 pairs. Don't focus on too many. Me, I trade cryptos heavy. That's my favorite thing to trade, mainly because they're so volatile. I like to trade BNB USD and Ethereum USD. I'm trading XRP too. It moves pretty fast, and Bitcoin is always in my queue. I always trade it as well. But when I first started, the main pairs that I focused on was AUD USD and USD CHF. That was like the main 2 pairs that I focused on. I'm not gonna lie. And I just focused on. I just would still do my study, and I'll read the. I can't give you that sauce right there. I was going to say something, but I'll read this book that I had, and I would study in the back office. Well, I was a part of IM Academy at the time, and I'll just do my research, man, and I go to the market, and then I look at the charts, and I just look for a trade, and that's what I do. So that helped me to be able to develop my eye for sure. But as I went through my process, I wasn't as disciplined. So I wouldn't be getting the full knowledge, the full understanding, because sometimes I wouldn't get on the market. Sometimes I would stay away from the market. But it's like, if you really want to understand how this moves, if you really want to be able to make thousands of dollars from this market daily, you have to trade. You have to spend time trading. But it's possible. People do it all the time. If you guys don't know, shout out to Q Banks, man. That's all I'm going to say. Shout out to Q Banks. At Q Banks on Instagram. CUE Banks. Follow dude. Real trader, man. Real trader. And if anything, people are aspiring to be him daily. Since I started trading, I've been hearing about Q Banks. And he wasn't a part of any company. He started his own company. Black dude. Probably one of the hardest to ever do it. Really. One of the best traders ever, bro. And you can see his whole story. Go to look at his Instagram. It's inspiring, bro. Because people, me and you, we would work daily, we would work jobs and be so tired and not make enough. We're not making enough money, just be honest. We're not making enough money. And we do things that we don't even love. We wake up and be like, damn, I don't want to go. And yes, sitting on the charts may be tedious. It may be pressing you. It may be trying. It may be something that doesn't intrigue you in the beginning. But honestly, do you want to keep spending your time for money? Or would you rather have all of your time and make your money make money? I understand you got to have money to start. That's why having a 9 to 5 isn't a bad thing. Use it as your foundation. For now, that's why it's important to start investing as soon as you can, because the more time you waste, the more time you don't have. And time is like one of the only things that you get. So you have to use it wisely. And learning how to trade was honestly one of the best things that I could have did in my life, because now that I know how to generate income from my phone, a job isn't as necessary, right? A job is just a foundation. It's just consistent income for me. It's every week I get a check. Thank you. I'm grateful for every dollar that I get. It's about how you think about the money too. A lot of times, bro, it comes down to the mindset. Like I was saying before, it's not about what you want the market to do. The market's gonna move on its own, right? Just allowing for things to happen, and you just being sometimes you have to be the reactor, right? But you have to prepare yourself to react. And a lot of times we don't do that. Because we're so caught up in getting to the goal, or getting to the top of the hill, so fast. We don't take the time to actually break it down to the science first. And so when it comes down to the foreign exchange market, it can change your life. It can change your whole life. Because once you get into it, and once you start getting around the people that are also into it, now you only want the best for yourself. And it might not just be the foreign exchange market though. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, the foreign exchange market will generate you freedom, generate you income, generate you time. And that's all we could ever really want, is more of that. More free time, more time to spend with my family, more time to spend in the studio. I make music, so I want to be able to spend time doing what I love to do and not what anybody else wants me to do. You know, that's really how I feel. And since I've been feeling like that, and I learned how to trade, I had to make this my priority. I had to make this my duty to learn how to trade for real and learn how to really mark up a chart and be great at it and make money from it. Because now I don't need for nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I want everybody to get to that point in life where it's not about what I have, it's what I know and how I can apply it. You know? So, that being said, family, I'll see you in the next one. Be smooth.